Hey guys, my name is Chad. This is my new YouTube channel, so if you like it, please hit subscribe or like and comment on my videos. On this channel, I'm going to bring you tech reviews, unboxings, and how-to videos on both household and portable technology. This includes tablets, laptops, phones. Here soon I'm going to have a review on the iRobot Roomba 650, and today I'm bringing you a review, unboxing, install, and feature video, and I'll give you a short review at the end of the Nest Learning Thermostat 3rd generation. I picked this up on Black Friday for $200 off Amazon.com. I've had it about a week and I'm pretty excited about it, so stay tuned and I hope you enjoy my video. Alright, I'm going to unbox the Nest Learning Thermostat. It's still sealed in the wrapper, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that off real quick. It comes with this shrink wrap on it, so you can definitely tell if you got a new one or not. And then it looks like it's also in another box. It's got a couple cool features for it. It's supposed to basically save you some money. It's supposed to automatically program when you're home and when you're away. It learns, hence the learning thermostat. As you come home, it's got a motion sensor and it tries to learn if you leave every day at 8 a.m. and you come home every day at 3 p.m. it tries to adjust for that. So inside we've got a little cover on it. It's just plastic. And then we actually have the Nest itself. It's got a really nice metal finish around the side. Definitely not plastic, it's metal. Here we have a port, and it looks like a micro USB port as well, possibly for updating information like that, maybe. I know it's also Wi-Fi, so I'd assume we can get updates that way, but it does have a micro USB port on the back. On the front we have a little cover that looks to just be covering the sensor down here at the very bottom. Just here, this is just a black finish, and then that's the screen itself. We'll set that aside for a second. Here we have the manuals, it looks like. Possibly both install manuals and user manuals, and then a little advertisement from the other products that Nest has. It comes with this little screwdriver with a switchable tip, so if you don't have tools, it's got both Phillips and a straight edge. Kind of neat. And then we also have, this is the actual wiring plate for it. We have some screws for the wiring plate. I'm gonna go ahead and set those aside as well. I'll get back to the wiring plate. And then we have this cover. That's if you have a bigger thermostat on the wall, you can use this to cover that up. I actually am gonna be using this, so you will see this in my feature and install video. This little metal bracket here, this is for if you have a junction box already in the wall with the wires, so you can actually mount this to the junction box itself instead of to the drywall. And then you have some screws for that, the junction box itself, and that looks to be everything in the box. Alright, so the mounting plate, again, as you can see, it has all the different wiring abbreviations that you could have. It also has a little warning here saying to make sure you turn off the power before you install it. And we can see that there's the connector that was on the back of the Nest itself. On the back here we don't have anything special, just that label that pulls out. Here's a closer look at the Nest itself. Down here you can just barely see this is a different color here. That's going to be the sensor itself. Again, this is the screen, and then the bezel, the black bezel. And you can see this is a really nice metal finish all the way around it. And again, the back for the connectors. All I'm going to use to install the Nest, I'm going to need the Nest itself. I'm going to need the wiring plate here. Again, I'm going to use the backing plate to cover up any holes on the wall where my old thermostat was. And then I will use the included screwdriver that they gave me with it. Alright, now I'm going to show you how to install the Nest Learning Thermostat. I already went ahead and removed my old thermostat. It's just generic, it's not programmable or anything like that. It was held in by 2 mounting screws. I just had to snap the cover off, and I disconnected the wires. Alright, I'm going to be using the mounting plate and the little wire base here. The little wire base actually has a level right there at the top, so you can kind of see if it's installed level or not. It's kind of a cool little feature they included. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put the plate on. pull all my little wires through. I already looked up what wires I need. That's something you're gonna have to do separately. Each wire can be different. You may have more wires than me, you may have less. I also have some wires here that weren't used before. The blue, there's an orange over here, and I won't use those again. It looks like there's also a brown. I'm just gonna use these 4 wires, white, green, red, and yellow. And I also need to say I already turned off the power to my actual air conditioning unit. So these wires are safe to touch, nothing's gonna get harmed. Make sure you do that. That was on the little label here that I showed you in the unboxing. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop these through here. Shove the other ones back in the wall. I will not be using the metal plate that I showed earlier because I don't have a junction box here. I'm just mounting it to the wall. And you can notice the plate is doing me a favor. It's hiding ugly holes on the wall, which is why I'm using this plate. All right, now using the included screws that came with it, I'm gonna go ahead and match this up with the hole, and I'll check to make sure it's level here in just a second. Now I'm gonna step in front of the camera and check, see if it's level. All right, the bubble's right there in the middle. Tighten these up. And now I'm gonna connect the wires. My wires are already pretty well peeled. So again, I've already checked my wiring. I'm using Y1, yellow 1. You push this little button here and you push the wire in the hole. You push it all the way in and the button should stay down, showing you that you do have the wire in there. The red for me is RC. Push the button, put the wire in, again the button stays down. Green just goes right into G for green. And then I have a white wire, which is white 1 for me. I've got it connected. I'm gonna push the wires in the hole there. Nice and clean, all these are down, and those are the 4 wires that the manual said I was going to use. So I've got those connected. Now let me grab the Nest. Again, it's got the connector here, which goes right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and line it up and push it on. There, it's securely on. And now I'm gonna turn the power back on to the air conditioning. All right, with the power on, you can see the green light here starts to blink and a little home screen. Now I'm gonna be going through this for the first time as well, so I'm gonna be learning and showing you how I set it up. All right, that took about a minute for it to get all the way set up and boot up, I guess. So I am in the US, so I'm gonna use the metal here. It actually rotates. So I'm gonna select English, set up my internet connection, connect to internet for remote control, updates, and local weather. Connect. I'm gonna select my router, and I'm gonna enter my password. All right, I've got my password entered. It is now connecting to my router. Thermostat is online. Press to continue, checking for a software update. So what I was talking about earlier, it said it will update automatically later, so you do not have to connect it to that micro USB port. Set my location. Single family home. It is in my living room. Heating and cooling, next step. I am a homeowner, not a pro. Equipment detected, so it shows what each wire does and where I connected them. I've got the cool, the fan, power, and heat. Press to continue. Mine's electric, not oil. I have forced air. It wants to begin by testing heating and cooling, so I'm going to go ahead and let it do that. You can set the lowest I want it to heat to. Let's see. So the lowest I want my house to be when I'm away, about 60 degrees. I'm okay with that. I like it a little cold. Now I'm going to set cool to. How much do I want it to cool while I'm away? I don't want it to cool much lower than, and you notice these little green leaves. Those show up to tell me that is more eco-friendly than 81. So I'll go ahead and set it at 82 when I'm away. And a system test. Your system's ready to test. You can test it now or later. Test now. We'll test the heating. The heat should be on. Check the vents. It might take a few minutes. So I'm gonna give it a second. All right, after a few minutes, the heat did turn on. I smelled the dust getting burnt, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit done. The heat has been turned off. I'm gonna hit continue. And now we're gonna test the cooling. It is currently 53 to protect your system. Nest does not test cooling when the outside temperature is below 60. So it's not gonna test my cooling, but I am confident that it will work. So I'm gonna hit back, fan. The fan should be on, make sure the air is coming out the vents. So again, I'm gonna wait. It'll kick the fan on. All right, the fan's on, so that worked. I'm gonna hit done. The fan has been turned off. I'm gonna hit continue. So we're done with testing. All right, it says your adjustments help Nest learn your preferred schedule and temperature, all right? The temperature sensors need some time to calibrate. All right, done, finish. All right. This little leaf means that we are eco-friendly right now. It's a little cool outside. As it said earlier, it's 53 out, so I have the heat set to 68, which is fairly cool, and I can change that easily just by rotating this knob. It says what it's set to. This temperature up here, if you can see, says what the current temperature is in my house. So it's 69 here, so I can set it down here. We'll just set it to 65, and we'll scroll through here. So under thermostat, I can change it from heat to cool, or to heat and cool, or off. So I'm gonna leave it on heat and cool. And I can set each one of those independently. So if I go over here to heat, I press to change. So I have it heat to 62, and then I can press cool to change. And maybe I want that to cool to 72. So I can hit press again. All right, so you can see it's heat to 62, cool to 72, and it's currently 69. The two outside lines are a little bit more white than the middle one. What other settings? So the fan settings, whether it be automatic, every day, or we can make it start now. Let's see, energy. I have no usage for yesterday because, again, I just installed it. As you use it, it'll tell you how much the furnace ran the day before. Schedule, you can go in here and you can actually set it to do things at certain times, whenever that may be. So you can do Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So today is Saturday, so maybe at 10 o'clock, I want it to do something. So 2200, I can hit new, and then I can set these exactly where. So again, 2200. And now, let's say at 2200, I want it to cool to 70. And it's getting nighttime, so maybe I want the heat to turn on a little bit more. So we'll do 68. So that's simple. Now it does have to have 4 in between, so it's actually set on 72 and 68 because I turned the AC down, but then I bumped the heat up. So it's gonna have a 4-degree gap, so it's not non-stop changing heat, cold, heat, cold. I'll show you that on the phone later. It's a little bit easier to do it on the phone to me. Let's see, we also have general settings, my home location, which I'll blur out, and then right now you can see it's 53 outside, and it is 69 degrees inside with a 45% humidity in here right now. So under settings, we have the fan. We saw that. Lock, this is a cool feature. If you have kids, you can go in here and you can set a lock to this screen. To change anything on this, you have to enter the lock code. However, on the phone, if you pull it up on your iPhone or Android, you can change the temperature immediately in the app without having to unlock it. So what I do is I actually leave this locked all the time. And if I need to change the temperature, I change it on my phone. I can change it from home or away. As you can see, the Nest is currently locked. So to change anything, you would have to enter a PIN. I entered a generic PIN just to show you. So you enter the PIN all the way across, hit done, and now you can change the heating and cooling again. So a cool feature if you have kids. Again, you can go back to settings and you can relock it. Same generic PIN. Confirm it. And done. It's locked again. This is when I go away, when it senses I'm no longer here. It sets the minimum temperature to 62 and the max for 82. So it'll heat up to 62 or cool down to 82. Nest Sense, that's what the little leaf means. No reminders. Brightness is set to medium. You can go through here, high, auto, low. I'm gonna leave it on medium. The display, what you want it to do. So wake on approach or when you press it. So I'm gonna leave it on approach. All right, and then far sight. Once it does wake, what do you want it to show? The target temperature, current temperature, a clock. I leave it on target temperature. So I'm gonna hit done. Done again. Click sound, if you can hear that. That's when you're rotating the knob, so I leave that on. Fahrenheit or Celsius. It's installed in my living room, connected to my router. This is the location again. Nope, Nest account, I'm sorry. I will add the Nest account later and I will show you that. Basically, you go in here, you hit Nest account, you hit get entry key, you download the app on whatever device you want, and then you enter that key and it'll register your account with your Nest device. My location, the language, English, the equipment that we saw earlier, Nest Pro, which I am not Nest Pro, so I don't have a Nest Pro ID. Technical info, network, sensors, equipment, display, base. All right, done. Legal info and reset, and then back to home. So I'm going to use this for a little while. And all right, now that I've had a chance to use this for a little while, I can go in here and we can see some of my settings that I have now. So if I go to, let's see, energy. So yesterday, I only had 15 minutes of cooling all day yesterday. So I had no heat, the temperature wasn't really that hot, it was kind of cool. So that's pretty cool, I barely used any energy yesterday. I can go over here to my schedule and it tells me what I have upcoming. So today at 9:45, it's gonna heat up to 64, cool down to 70. I can press that and you can see all my learned temperatures that it has. Some of these are programmed, some are learned. Get back out of that. And it did also, this did manage to update. So if I go to settings and I go to technical info, base, so it doesn't say the date, but it did end up updating the software when earlier it said it would have to update. Now I'm going to give you a walkthrough on the app for the Nest Learning Thermostat. I have an Android phone and this is what the icon looks like for me right here. I'm going to go ahead and click that. And up at the top here it says this is set to home right now, so I can say home or away. I'm going to leave it on home. And then I have one thermostat. It's right here. If I had more Nests, they'd be down here at the bottom below that. So I'm going to click on my one, my living room one. And here you can see what the heat's set to at 64. The cool is set to 70. This first marker is the heat. The middle marker is the current temperature in the house. And this last marker is the cool. It's very easy to adjust the temperature. I just press cool and press up or down however I want the temperature set. Down here is the humidity inside the house, and then if we scroll over we can see the outside temperature as well. Down here at the bottom you have heat and cool, so I can select that and pick if I want it to be on heat, on cool, or both heat and cool, which is what I keep it on, or eco mode. So if I go on vacation and I'm leaving, I can select the eco mode and it'll go to those eco temperatures I set earlier, and then when I'm on my way home I'll go ahead and turn it back off eco mode back onto heat and cool, or maybe cool or heat, to get to the temperature that I want. And lastly, we can turn it off there at the bottom if we want to. Then you have the fan setting here at the bottom. You can select 30 minutes, 45 minutes. It looks a minimum of 15 minutes. And then after that, it goes to an hour, 2 hours, 4, 8, and 12. So if you want to leave the fan on for a while to cycle some air through, you can do that. Then the schedule. In the schedule, there are several different temperatures set right now. Some of these were set by the Nest, some were set by me. And if you click a specific day, like on Friday at 2 a.m., it's going to go to 67 and 62. Then at 12:30, it'll go to 72 and 58. And lastly, at 3, it'll go to 81 and 56. And actually, there is one more here at 10:45, 70 and 60. And it's really easy to change them. Let me click a day that's got here. Sunday doesn't. It has 1. So we'll add 1 to Sunday. You go down here and you hit add, and then you select whatever time. So I'm going to click over here.
and right now it's set for 6:45, so I can actually click on that and drag it to the specific time. So maybe I want 7 a.m. and now if I want to adjust the heat, I click the orange for heat and adjust it how I want. You can see the leaf showing it's eco-friendly at 62. I can adjust the AC however I want. So we go maybe 80, whatever we want to do, and that's it. It's set. To remove it, we go down here at the bottom and we're going to hit remove. You just tap this one right here and it goes away. Very easy. And you can also, on this, if I want Sunday to be the same as Saturday, I can go to Saturday here, and I can hit copy and I can paste it on Sunday. Very easy. And I can do that for every day of the week. And then we have history. This will show the usage history for my furnace throughout the last few days. So you can see on the 3rd it was an hour and a quarter. On the 2nd it was 15 minutes, so that's great. On the 1st it was 30 minutes. And you can even press them and see exactly when it turned on and for what. So it turned on at about 4:30 a.m. That's the only time it was activated there. You can see the little blue marks showing when it was on. And then we have the settings up here. Where's it located? It's in the living room. Home away assist, that uses your phone's GPS to try to detect when you're away from the home. And if you are, it'll turn it on the eco-friendly mode, the temperatures you set, which is right here below that. You can see my eco temperatures of 62 and 76. So I can press that and you can change those very easily. You just drag them to whatever temperature you want and it'll set them for you. And then Nest Sense, there's several different settings in here. The first one's the auto schedule. That is how it learns when you are home or away. So I leave that on. It tries to learn. Again, I have a unique schedule, so it doesn't always work perfectly, but I leave it on and it does make a fair attempt. Time to temperature. If you set the temperature to 67 and it's at 70, it'll give you an estimate of how long it takes to get to that temperature based off what it's learned. So maybe 30 minutes. And then early on, it uses that estimated time to get to the temperature you set, and it'll actually turn on before you get home. So if you get home at 3 p.m. and it takes a half an hour for it to get to the temperature you want at 3 p.m., it'll turn on a half an hour early, and you can actually adjust that to however long, like a maximum of 1 hour early or 2 hours early, so on and so forth. I leave that off. Cool to dry. This will use your air conditioning to turn on occasionally. I'm not sure exactly how long it turns on, but when it turns on, the idea is to reduce the humidity in the home and make it a little bit healthier. And then you have sunblock. If you are in direct sunlight, the thermostat's in direct sunlight, you can turn this on to let it know. And then the leaf, which you see, that lets you know you have an eco temperature or energy saving temperature set. And AirWave. AirWave automatically switches your air conditioner compressor off after the room has cooled, but then it still uses the fan to spread the remaining air throughout the place. So I leave that on. I think that's a pretty cool feature. It saves just a little bit of money spreading out the cool air. And down here you have the fan. This allows you to run it every day for a certain amount of time, between 2 times, just to circulate some of the air. And then equipment. Again, it tells you the wiring that you're using. It shows you the same wiring diagram we saw earlier, the heat source, heat type, an air filter reminder if you want to set that, and a safety temperature. So it'll never go below 40 degrees. It'll always turn the heat on. And if you live up north or somewhere where it's cooler out, that ensures your pipes don't freeze. So that's a good feature too. And then we have technical info. This is just the info on the app, where it's located, the IP address, things like that. The temperature, whether you want Fahrenheit or Celsius, and then the lock. So if I enter a code here twice, so we'll just use 111. This just locked the thermostat on my wall. So if somebody goes and tries to change the temperature on that thermostat right now, it will not work without entering the code on the thermostat. To unlock it on the phone, you don't have to enter the code again. You can simply go in here and hit unlock, and now the thermostat is unlocked and can be changed again. So this is a great way to protect it against children, guests, or anything like that. And that's the app, guys. Alright guys, so now for my review of the Nest Learning Thermostat. There's a few things I really like about it, and the first one's the design. I like the overall design of the product. The screen itself, it looks really great. It's got a nice little curvature to it, and the metal bezel that goes around it has a great finish to it. It's very smooth when you rotate the bezel, and overall it feels like a premium product. Also, the installation of the product, it really was easy to install. I showed you in about 2 to 3 minutes how to install it. Granted, I didn't show removing the old one, but overall it's very easy. Follow the instructions, figure out what wires you need, install it, and you're done. And after the installation, the setup was just as easy. The Nest Learning Thermostat prompts you with each step along the way with what you need to do. It detects what wires you have connected and then also tests the heating, cooling, and the fan to ensure that they are connected properly and the system works. When setting up the Wi-Fi, it's a breeze. You select your network, you enter your password, and you're done. Overall, the setup took less than 5 minutes, and that was my first time going through it, so I'd say it's very easy. I also like the ability that you can lock the Nest Learning Thermostat. So if you have family members, guests, children, or whoever it may be, you can't adjust the temperature on the Nest Learning Thermostat without actually entering the combination. You can go on the app and remove the lock instantly if you forget your password. So it's a great feature. I find myself personally entering the temperature more on my phone and not even touching the Nest Thermostat on the wall. And this brings me to my last advantage, which is my favorite, is the phone application. It's a very smart application. It's very easy to use. Everything you need is right there on your phone, whether it's iOS or Android. So I love the phone application. Alright, now I'm always going to try to bring you at least 1 or 2 disadvantages. So with this product, it was kind of hard to find. However, there are 2 things that I wish were either improved upon or could be fixed. One of them can be fixed with an update. The first thing that I think can be improved upon is the actual touch. It's not a touchscreen device. When you press it, you actually have to push the device in. It doesn't feel like it's going to fall off the wall. However, when you push, you have to push pretty hard, and it does move a little bit and feels like it may be unsecure. Again, it doesn't feel like it's going to fall off the wall, but with a device for $200, $250, I wish it was touchscreen. Also, I would have liked if it had a screen always on function. I showed you the motion sensor and how it works instantaneously when you walk by it. It's very accurate and it can pick me up 15 to 20 feet away when I'm in my living room. However, I miss being able to lay on my couch, look up, and see the temperature that it's set on or exactly what it's trying to do. I have a feeling that they did this to help conserve more energy, considering that's the whole point of the product. However, I do wish that it at least made it an option for us to turn on or off. Lastly, I have an observation. It's not a like or a dislike, but it's something I have noticed while using it. My schedule changes quite a bit with work. I work both day shift and a swing shift, which is kind of like a night shift. Sometimes I'm sleeping during the day, sometimes I'm sleeping during the evening. So the Nest Learning Thermostat really can't learn what my schedule is consistently. It might learn a week at a time, but when it changes, that week is now thrown off again. So it will try to adapt. But what it does great is it still allows me to set a full schedule for the upcoming week, or I can leave that schedule and try to have it more dynamic for my situation. However, if you and your family have a consistent schedule where you leave at 8 a.m. and the kids get off the bus at 3 p.m. every day, then it will learn your behavior. If you are going to something every evening at 6 p.m., whether it be soccer, baseball, football, or anything like that, it will learn that behavior. However, if you have a floating schedule like me, you might find yourself using the application more to actually program when you want the temperatures to change. Alright, so now I'm going to give you my opinion on the Nest Learning Thermostat. I've had it for about 2 to 3 weeks now, and I have found that it doesn't work perfectly for my unique schedule when I float from a day shift to a night shift. However, I do feel that if you have a consistent schedule where you leave at 8 a.m. and come back at 3 p.m. or something like that, it may work better for you. That being said, I also don't mind having to use the app. I found the app very easy to use, and it was better for me to be able to fine-tune my adjustments for the temperatures and everything the way I wanted to, and I didn't mind it in the end. I also don't fault the product for not being able to adapt to my schedule because it is so unique. Now the price, you're going to pay about $200 to $250 for the product, whether you get it at a big box store or on sale or Black Friday or however you may get it. Overall, I think it's a fair price. There are some competitors that are a little bit more affordable. However, you have to think with the price, in theory, you should save money on your energy bill in the long run. I haven't had it long enough to show exactly how much money I may save or may not save. However, from the video earlier, I was able to show you that it only activated for 15 minutes the day before. So it was adjusting for when I left and when I came back, and it was a cooler day out, but it barely had to turn on. Overall, I really enjoy the Nest Learning Thermostat. I like how it looks on the wall, I like the functionality, I like to be able to lock it, and I love the app for it. So overall, I definitely consider it a buy. Thanks for watching my video, guys, on the Nest Learning Thermostat 3rd generation. If you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, please comment in the space below and I'll answer them. Also, my channel is a new channel, so if you could hit the subscribe button, I will have more videos and reviews for you shortly, including the one on the iRobot Roomba 650. So thank you again for watching, and I appreciate it.